Hello and welcome to the public television of Armenia. Today I am honored to host Mr. Toivo Klaar, EU Special Representative for the South Caucasus and the crisis in Georgia. Mr. Klaar, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
In one of your latest tweets, you expressed hope that to hold substantial meetings with Armenia and Azerbaijani leadership and on the joint EU-France mission. Please give us some details. What does it mean?
So this mission that I have been engaged in this yesterday and today is unique in the sense that it's both the EU institutions and France as the presidency of the European Union. This is not a very usual setup that for missions, and it shows that this issue, this question of ensuring peace in the South Caucasus is very important for us, for the European Union. And our engagements over the past couple of days have focused on follow-up to the very substantial meeting that President Michel had with Prime Minister Pashinyan and President Aliyev in Brussels, and also the meeting that afterwards President Macron had with the two leaders. So the meeting in Brussels with President Michel, the leaders established a certain understanding on how to move forward, and this mission is about seeing what kind of progress has been made, where there's need for a further push, and basically to take stock of situation and to see how the EU and our engagement should develop in the coming months.
The full return of Armenian prisoners of war from Azerbaijan is still open question. The EU and in particular Charles Michel have put significant efforts in this direction. The sensitive humanitarian issue was discussed also in Brussels. What steps can we expect from the European Union which would be directed at the final solution of this very sensitive issue?
You can be sure that this is something that the EU pays very close attention to. It is certainly something that was discussed both here in Yerevan today and in Baku yesterday. And the EU has on repeated occasions emphasized the need for all detainees to be released. And that is the fundamental position of the European Union. We are working in this direction, and again, this is something that we have been engaged in, that member states have been engaged in. Most recently, after the December summit, we had 10 prisoners released. Then we had 5 additional prisoners released, and of course, we are looking forward to further release of detainees because, in the end, this is an important and a crucial element to re-establishing confidence and trust in the region.
Ilham Aliyev, president of Azerbaijan, said recently that OSCE Minsk Group has nothing to do with Nagorno-Karabakh conflict as, quote, the OSCE Minsk Group co-chairmanship should not deal with Nagorno-Karabakh issue as it is already solved. We solved that problem for them, and Azerbaijan will prevent any attempt by OSCE Minsk Group to deal with the Nagorno-Karabakh issue, end of quote. EU has expressed many times its full support to OSCE Minsk Group. What is the EU's position on these remarks, OSCE Minsk Group activities, and did you raise this issue while meeting with President Azerbaijan on January 20 meeting?
Well, as you say, this is a fundamental position of the European Union. For us, the crucial question is to move towards a comprehensive settlement of the conflict. And I think everybody agrees, both President Aliyev and Prime Minister Pashinyan, that a comprehensive settlement is needed. And for this, one needs to engage and to discuss all issues that are on the agenda. And that is and has been the EU position and remains the EU position. So in that sense, yes, of course, we discussed the need for a comprehensive settlement and how to move towards a comprehensive settlement, both in Baku and here in Yerevan.
Also, President Aliyev reacted angrily on the visit to Artsakh by Valérie Pécresse, governor of Île-de-France province and region in France, and candidate also for the presidency of France, saying, "If we knew, we wouldn't let her back from Karabakh," end of quote. Considering that EU is one of the global leaders in human rights protection and free movement of people, how would you comment on this type of rhetoric?
Well, I believe that a lot has been said. There have been several statements by various representatives, and both in the public and in private. And I don't really see a need for me to comment on this at this stage, because this is something that I think has been addressed.
Coming to the border issues, the escalation of the situation on Armenian-Azerbaijani border was discussed during the meetings in Brussels. The agreement on appropriate distancing of forces was reached, and however, in January, we witnessed a new escalation by the Azerbaijani armed forces, which infiltrated into the sovereign territory of Armenia. What is the vision of European Union on the distancing of the forces?
That is certainly a topic that was discussed at length both yesterday in Baku and here in Yerevan today. We, as EU, have proposed several measures for how to de-escalate the situation on the border. There is also the need to have a delimitation of the border, which has not been delimited. And there's numerous other questions pertaining to the border, such as the Shokhas water reservoir and other issues that need to be addressed. And we certainly wanted to use this visit to, as you say, point to the fact that we had again clashes, point to the fact that there is a need for de-escalation, for practical measures, and for moving from agreements and at the leaders level to implementation in practice. And that is something that we, as I said, discussed both yesterday in Baku and today in Yerevan.
About the delimitation and demarcation, availability of an expert mission or a consultative group to support the border delimitation and demarcation was also discussed during the Brussels meeting. What technical support does EU provide, or will EU provide for the delimitation and demarcation of the border?
That is something that is very much up to Azerbaijan and Armenia. We are ready to provide quite a bit of advice, of facilitation, of other measures, if and as they are needed and as they are requested. In the end, the EU cannot just parachute in and say that now we are going to take this in hand, but we have signaled to both sides, and I believe there is an interest both in Yerevan and in Baku to take us up on this, on our offer of technical advice, but perhaps also on our support politically for moving forward on this important topic. In the end, delimitation and the reduction of tensions, these are not exactly two sides of the same coin, but they are linked to each other, and it is important that we need a reduction of tensions, and then we need to move forward to actually start genuine discussions about delimitation in order to also exclude any tensions in the future.
So as soon as the signal comes from either Yerevan or Baku about the consultation support, the EU is ready to provide it.
The EU is and has been ready to provide support to both sides, yes, for some time already.
With the help of and with the efforts of Charles Michel, direct line between Armenian and Azerbaijani defense ministries was established. The EU announced it will continue to support confidence-building measures between the two countries. What new proposals do you have in this regard?
Well, this is again something that was discussed both yesterday and today. I wouldn't really like to go into details, but we certainly did emphasize that, and we did discuss ways in which the EU and ways in which Brussels can support various processes. And again, I would also like to emphasize that this is not something that we as EU see as being somehow an exclusive relationship. The EU is not here to try to somehow steer or grab geopolitical territory. We are here genuinely because we believe that a peaceful and prosperous South Caucasus is in the common interest, and that is what we want to contribute to.
One of the key results of the Brussels meeting was the agreement on construction of Yerazx, Julfa, Ordubat, Meghri, Horadiz railway. The EU assured it is ready to support the development of connectivity links in line with the economic and investment plans. What assistance does EU consider to provide in this context, and are there any practical discussions on this?
Well, as far as infrastructure is concerned, we are engaged in discussions with the Armenian authorities, engaged in discussions with the Azerbaijani authorities on various support that the EU can provide in the context of the economic investment plan. Now, as it pertains to specific cross-border initiatives, cross-border plans, this is something that we will certainly look to work towards to get a better understanding from Armenia and from Azerbaijan as to what are these kind of cross-border priorities where the EU then, in the context of its own planning, can specifically support. But right now we don't have that kind of discussion between Armenia and Azerbaijan and the European Union about how Armenia and Azerbaijan see that the EU should specifically support a cross-border engagement. And that is something that we also have addressed during our visit to see how we can actually move forward in this regard and to start talking about where both sides see that the EU can best be engaged in supporting whether it's infrastructure, whether other projects across the border.
Coming to Armenia-Turkey relations, these two countries started the process towards normalization of their relations. The first meeting of the representatives of two countries took place in Moscow. What is the EU's position on this, and how EU can contribute to this process?
Well, the EU's position is very simple. We support it. And we believe that a normalization of relations between Armenia and Turkey is in the interest of Armenia and Turkey, it's in the interest of the broader region, it's in the interest of the European Union. And we have stressed our support for this publicly. We have stressed our support. I have today met with Mr. Rubinyan. I have stressed our support in that meeting. I was in Ankara a few months ago. I stressed there that we are very much hoping that this process can move forward. So in short, again, the EU is fully behind this and fully supports the full normalization of relations between Armenia and Turkey.
The European Union announced about 2.6 billion euro investment package for Armenia. And that includes very important sectors and spheres. When are the first investment expected, and what Armenia must do to accelerate the process?
I think the first clear and visible results of this are the green buses that we can see in Armenia already. As for future results, this is something that we have to work on jointly. EU, Armenia, also other partners who are involved, because we also have international financial institutions involved. This is not just about 2.6 billion in grants, but it is also loans. It's blending. It's a mixture of different financial instruments, and therefore there's a number of different actors involved that all have to come together and agree on priorities and agree on taking them forward. So there's a lot of work going on, and I think it's important for all of us to stay focused and to make sure that this happens in as soon as possible.
And my last two questions. March 1st marks the first anniversary of entering into force of the Armenia-EU Comprehensive and Enhanced Partnership Agreement. How do you assess the process of the agreement and dynamics of the EU-Armenia relations?
I think the EU-Armenia relations are developing in a very good direction. We see that you just mentioned the economic investment plan, the EU's readiness to support Armenia's development, and I believe our contacts are close. We are looking for new areas of cooperation, and in short, again, the EU and Armenia relationship is developing in the right direction, and it is our hope that as we can contribute to a peaceful and prosperous region, then the EU can be even more. Our relationship can develop even further, and that is what we're committed to.
And what about the SEPA implementation?
Well, again, I think there's as partners we are working closely together, and as far as SEPA implementation is concerned, I can say that again, the EU and Armenia, I think we have a lot of opportunities. I think there's unused opportunities, but in general, I think we have done quite a good job in making the best out of what we have and the opportunities that we have for our cooperation. But as I say, there's still space to develop.
Mr. Klaar, thank you very much for your time and for joining us.
Thank you very much.
This is Public Television of Armenia, and I was honored to host Mr. Toivo Klaar, EU Special Representative for the South Caucasus and Crisis for Georgia. Thank you for watching us.